FCC ones you have to abide by, but you can call in about anything, as you know. 800-259-9231. So welcome aboard to those of you in the Michigan City area. So that said, Nick, we were discussing secession, actually talking about it throughout the week. It started, I think, on Monday night when Mark revealed that he is far more interested now than ever before in the secession option. And last night with Wayne here, we officially put it back on the table as a topic, something that should be discussed, something that should be, in the words of Michael Rosoff from LouRockwell.com, something that should be our top political priority. And I think it's a wonderful idea. I think it's something that people do need to consider as a viable option today, far more viable than it was in the mid 1800s, for instance. And it's time to take a serious look at it. So I'd love to hear your comments.
Well, going back to the mid-1800s there for a minute, I mean, it's not the first time, last night wasn't the first time that secession had come up on Free Talk Live, but I think it's important not only on radio, but for anyone who wants to discuss secession with people that they know. I think it's a good idea to stay away from the Civil War. Even if you believe that the South had the right to secede in the Civil War, I don't think that trying to go back and fight that battle is the way to convince people in today's day and age. Not only do you have slavery mixed in there, but also I know this kind of tripped you up once, Ian, when you were on WKBK here, not on Free Talk Live, but you did a separate show. I think I forget the name of the program, the morning show on KBK.
Yeah, the local
Dan Mitchell
show.
Yeah, Dan Mitchell. But people get really tripped up on that because the fact is the South did fire the first shots at the Civil War, and that really taints it for a lot of people, not to mention the whole slavery topic that comes up. It just kind of casts a bad light on secession, and I think it's a bad way to start discussing it. It sets a bad tone because you're siding with people who historically lost. I mean,
they lost, and they didn't, and it wasn't pretty. You know, there's slavery's mixed up. I mean, people in the South, very rich people in the South owned black people. It's not some place to really be coming from. It's not pretty.
I felt that last night when we were discussing it, I felt that 1860 came up, but it only came up in the context of the article in that, you know, he was just using it as a historical reference. I don't think he was using it as his basis for, well, you know, we've done this before, we should do it again. I think we were approaching it more from the perspective, and I appreciate what you're saying. I think that we should absolutely approach it more from the perspective of what in the hell do we need this federal government for anyway, and how can we improve our lives by throwing it off? Getting rid of this gigantic parasite known as the federal government, and then putting the people who are in support of the government on the defensive and having them try to come up with reasons to stay in the Union.
I think you're quite right. I just think that some people will fall into a trap of trying to refight that last battle in the American experience of secession. And I think you're right. Try to focus on today, what it means for the average person, how we could benefit by seceding, and
right.
What's at stake if we don't?
Because if say New Hampshire was to secede, or you pick your state, there's how many secession movements are there in the country?
Well, that I can name offhand, I think there's
certainly
Texas,
Hawaii,
Vermont, New Hampshire. I believe California's got a tiny one. There may be more.
Okay, but there's
South
quite a few
Carolina.
out there. You pick your state, and they're thinking about it. In that particular case, hopefully, none of the secessionists will start firing on a federal building, just shooting at people indiscriminately inside. And that's kind of what happened with Fort Sumter in the Civil War, and that's what you said, Nick, was what really caused it, because they had let the Southern officers just resign their posts in order to secede, I guess. And then
do we know, just as an aside, do we know for a 100% fact that the firing on Fort Sumter wasn't some sort
false
of
flag?
A false flag?
I'm pretty sure it wasn't a false flag. I mean, South
Certainly
Carolina.
What we're taught.
South Carolina pretty much openly they were openly admitting to it. See, from their perspective, the federal fort was occupying South Carolina territory.
Yeah,
they probably should have just let it go, because up until that point, the North wasn't really motivated to go to war, and secession wasn't really the issue there. Is one of the important things to take away from that. So if you come up against the Civil War objection, I wouldn't just shy away from it and not address it. I'd try to move on as quickly as possible.
Right.
But it's important to realize that secession wasn't the big driving force behind the war. It was really the fact that the Confederates decided to fire on a federal fort. And that was a bad call, obviously, in retrospect.
I think the reasons here that we're promoting are different, entirely different from the ones that were being promoted back then, in that I'm not approaching this from a states' rights perspective. You could approach it from that perspective if you wanted to. I could care less if the state secedes or not. I think that we should have individuals banding together to declare their individual sovereignty and essentially secede from participation.
I don't
in
think
the
that's
going to
go very well.
I understand that
because at that point the state is, you're going to secede from your individual pieces of property which are non-contiguous. Is that correct?
I don't know. I'm just saying that individuals should be the impetus behind this movement, not some concept of, well, let's free the state governments from the control of the feds.
Well, I think
that's kind of what you were talking about last night. State government seceding.
Well, we can approach it from any direction, okay. But again, I as someone who doesn't support any government whatsoever beyond myself, that of course is my eventual goal, and I don't care if the state government does or doesn't want to participate. I don't think that should be an issue. If you can't get 51% of the people to agree, I don't think that should crush your secession movement.
Well, see, you're talking about something that's not really what secession really is. What's considered, a sovereign state seceding from another state. So
that's true.
I understand.
We never joined the Union,
right? Well, But
people believe that there's this social contract out there for some reason, and I would like to abolish that concept.
I understand where you're coming from, but what is workable right now is the states leaving the Union, and I think that would benefit individual liberty. It would take some of the greater threat off our liberties, and I actually was doing some reading, and 71% of Americans, in a recent CNN poll, I believe it was like 2005, 71% of Americans agreed that our system of government is broke and is beyond fixing.
Really? And how recent? 2005?
I think that was 2005. And in April 2007, a Daily Kos poll asked if a state should be allowed to peacefully secede from the Union. 69% of people said, sure, as long as it's peaceful.
Now, was that an internet poll?
That I believe the Daily Kos one was internet. The CNN
Mostly
one was
liberals.
an actual.
Does that mean 21% or 31%?
We can come back with more of this. It's your show. You can bring up anything as well. Your thoughts on secession or whatever you want to talk about. This is Free Talk Live. SACL CAI has a full-orbed approach to account recovery. It's really three companies in one. They do collections, early out billing, and they purchase charged-off receivables. SACL knows the way they treat your customer reflects on you. Their staff is respectful. They record every call, and they have the best equipment money can buy, so your business is handled as efficiently as possible. See their banner at freetalklive.com or call 800-544-6359. That's 800-544-6359 for SACL CAI. All right, continuing the secession discussion here, and would love to hear from you as well. Just to clarify something, this is such a new idea for me. I mean, I haven't really even thought out all the way how to go about approaching it. I think that absolutely the state secession concept should be pursued. There's no doubt about that in my mind. But in the event that it becomes very, very difficult for whatever reason to persuade people into agreeing with us on that, I don't think the idea should be dropped. I think that's what I was trying to get at earlier. And what you were telling us, Nick, is that maybe it won't be that hard. The polls, some of the numbers that you've seen have been pretty encouraging, aside from the numbers you just gave us, which you can do again here to recap to bring people up to speed. But all you have to do is look at the approval numbers for Congress and the president. I mean, they're completely in the tank. 11% approve of Congress?
Well, what it really comes down to is I don't think that most Americans, even if they don't see the kinds of problems we're facing, even if they're not fully aware of all the issues out there, I don't think that most Americans have the heart to violently crush people who don't want to play ball anymore. Yeah. I don't think that people in New York really want to roll tanks on Vermont if they decide that they just want to peacefully leave.
They're family members up there. They've got friends up there.
Right, but the poll numbers are reflecting that. All the public opinion polls that have been done that I've seen have shown that Americans are willing to permit secession. It sounds like a crazy idea. I know even a couple years ago, I said, well, yeah, it might be what we want to do, but it's just not practical. It's just a fantasy. But I really think that it's probably the most direct way to get rid of the federal government in your life.
Absolutely. There's just... It's going to be next to impossible to turn the government around. I mean, this is such a behemoth. It's so monstrous. The bureaucracy is so embedded. It's so entrenched. The corporations are so tied in. The Federal Reserve is so powerful. The idea that we're going to be able to just run a few hundred candidates for state house, or not state house, but for U.S. House and Senate and president, and all of a sudden get these liberty-loving people elected, now all of a sudden is just ludicrous. It hasn't been happening for the last several decades. It's costing us millions of dollars. I mean, imagine taking the kind of money that Ron Paul has. He's got, what, $20 million in the bank, something like that, several $1 million. Imagine taking that, having that kind of a budget to promote secession in one state. You could really do a hell of a PR campaign for that kind of money. And it's from what you're saying, Nick, a relatively popular idea, something that people are willing to consider in this day and age, even after all of the government indoctrination they've been through.
One thing I would want to consider, especially in a state as small as New Hampshire, is many people here live in New Hampshire and work in Massachusetts or Vermont, or vice versa, live in Vermont, work in New Hampshire. There's a lot of traveling that goes on, whether by planes, trains, or automobiles.
Sure.
And people would very much want a very smooth secession where no violence and no stops were made. I wouldn't want a border stop, honestly, at the
Massachusetts.
I wouldn't particularly want to have to deal with that.
That would be Massachusetts' decision, though. You understand that, right?
Yeah.
New Hampshire's not going to put up a border stop, but Massachusetts, they've been talking about the idea. I mean, we know that when it comes time for the Independence Day to roll around, the Massachusetts State Police has been known to set up essentially not really a sting operation so much as just observing their residents going to New Hampshire and then observing them coming back. They didn't do it last year, but they've done it before, observing them returning and then pulling them over and searching them for fireworks. So a state like Massachusetts that is constantly complaining, the government there complaining, all these guns are coming down from Vermont and New Hampshire, and we can't have this in Massachusetts. With them making the claims like that, well, that's going to give them a reason to put up some sort of a checkpoint. However, it will hurt their economy, and so maybe they won't do it because of that. But if they want to make a drastic move like that, Mark, then that's the price I'm willing to pay.
You are, because you don't leave Keene.
That's not true. We go to Massachusetts.
How many times did you go to Massachusetts in the last year?
10.
What? I don't know anything about 10 times to Massachusetts, but most people don't. There's a lot of people that it would affect greatly, and they're going to be against you because of it.
Yeah, but
they should be against Massachusetts, not me. I'm not doing that.
What do you think that right now they don't have a problem? You come along, they do have a problem. Who should they be against?
Massachusetts. They're the ones putting up the security.
That's not what people are going to think.
Too bad.
Regardless of how many times you go to Massachusetts, you can't just look at the potential problems from secession. You also have to look at the potential problems from remaining in the Union.
Sure.
And I'm not... I know some people, and Ian, I think you'd fit this description. You're eager about secession because you don't like government, period. And I don't either, really. But the way I see it, I'm not pushing for secession because I see it as the way to eliminating all government. The reason I believe in secession, and it's somewhat regretfully, I'm not terribly excited about the fact that it's come to this. The reason I support secession is because if we stay in the United States, I see nothing good coming from it.
Oh, absolutely. I think that it should be sold to the masses on a benefits basis, the way that Harry Brown had made the Great Libertarian Offer in his 2000 campaign, essentially saying to people, well, let's drastically slash the government down to size. Or I think his offer was, would you, if you have a federal government program that's your favorite program, would you be willing to get rid of it if it meant that you could keep all the money that you earned every single year? To sell the benefits of secession, to sell how it is that getting rid of the federal government would give you more freedom, would leave more money in your pocket, would allow you to keep more of your paycheck, make more decisions for your life, expand your purview, expand your freedom. Sell it from that perspective. Is there a chance that things could get a little messy as far as some individual states doing stupid things? Maybe, the people in Wyoming will go and put up a border fence to keep all the immigrants out. Okay, whatever. If that's what they want to do, that's their state, and they should be able to make those decisions. I wouldn't be too concerned about those things happening.
Well, yeah, there is the selling it, but another way I see that convinces me that we should leave is not that I just see the bureaucracy in Washington as inefficient, it's that I see the United States as a sinking ship.
Well, that's true, too.
I mean, with our impending Social Security crisis as far as financing it, I really don't see any way we're going to survive without our dollar massively inflating and without becoming a much more socialist country in the police state. It's all coming down the road pretty soon.
Oh, yeah, we can see it happening. It's stuff we talk about here every night and would love to hear from you. 800-259-9231. Secession is on the table again. How do you feel about it? Have you ever thought about this before? We'd love to hear from you. 800-259-9231.